Dear Father, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, my dear brother, the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, the Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, the Chairman of the Nigerian Progressive Governors Forum, honorable members and senators from the National Assembly, members of the Federal Executive Council, the Executive Chairman of Nigeria Revenue Service, and all members of staff of the Nigeria Revenue Service, taxpayers, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to deliver a short goodwill message at this commissioning of the Nigeria Revenue Service headquarters. Institutions reveal themselves not only through laws or leadership, but also through the system they sustain over time. This building invites a different kind of reflection. It is not simply about scale or design. It is about whether Nigeria now possesses the institutional discipline to convert authority into consistent outcomes. Before proceeding further, it is important to acknowledge the leadership that made this moment possible. The fiscal reform program initiated under our dear father, our leader, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, required not only technical clarity, but political courage. It required a willingness to confront structural weaknesses that had accumulated over time and to make decisions whose benefits will not be immediate, but whose necessity was clear. For many years, our revenue system struggled less from a lack of effort than from a lack of coherence. We operated multiple regimes, overlapping mandates, and fragmented legal frameworks. The result was predictable: high effort, low yield, and limited public confidence. What has changed under this administration is not only the policy direction, but also the underlying logic of the system. The reforms have sought to align rules, institutions, and incentives within a single framework. The 2025 Tax Reform Act represents that shift in its clearest form. They recognize the architecture within which revenue is generated, assessed, and enforced, and provided the basis for a more integrated system. The journey to this point was neither quick nor uncomplicated. The legislative process was extensive, at times difficult, and often accompanied by strong views from different segments of the economy. There were concerns about impact, debates about scope, and moments when public discourse was shaped more by apprehension than by detail. In the midst of this, the National Assembly remained steady. The House of Representatives, working with the Senate, engaged widely, interrogated the proposal rigorously, and insisted on clarity where it was required. We made deliberate choices, including protecting vulnerable groups and ensuring the reform did not impose undue pressure on low-income earners or small businesses. The objective was to produce a framework that is fair in design and sustainable in operation. To the Nigerian public, it is important to address the concerns that have accompanied this reform. Taxation is not an abstract concept. It affects daily life, enterprise, and opportunity. The intention of this new regime is not to increase hardship, but to improve structure. It seeks to broaden the base, reduce leakages, and ensure that obligations are more evenly distributed. It is also designed to protect those at the lower end of the income scale while improving collection efficiency in areas where compliance has historically been weak. The emergence of the Nigeria Revenue Service must be understood within that context. It is not only a renamed institution, it is a repositioned one with a broader mandate and higher expectations. In this regard, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is appropriate to recognize the Executive Chairman, Mr. Zach Adedichi, and his team. The performance of the service in recent years has been notable. In 2025, collections exceeded target, reaching over 28 trillion with significant growth driven by non-oil revenues. This reflects not only improved systems, but also a shift towards voluntary compliance and a better coordination. The challenge now is to sustain and deepen that performance. This is particularly important when considering the scale of national expenditure. Nigeria's budget has expanded significantly, with projections exceeding 50 trillion naira and rising commitments to infrastructure, security, education, and social services. The gap between what the nation seeks to achieve and what it currently earns remains substantial. Bridging that gap through sustainable revenue is central to fiscal stability. The question, therefore, is not whether revenue must increase. It is how it increases. Three issues will determine that outcome. Number one, the first is consistency. Revenue administration loses credibility when outcomes depend on discretion rather than rules. The Nigerian Revenue Service must demonstrate that its processes are stable across sectors, regions, and categories of taxpayers. The second is visibility. A modern tax system cannot operate as a closed structure. Data, processes, and decisions must be intelligible, not only to government, but to those who are subject to it. This is central to compliance. The third is restraint. The authority to collect revenue must be exercised with discipline. Overreach may produce immediate gains, but it weakens trust and compliance over time. These are not operational preferences, they are institutional requirements. From a legislative perspective, Your Excellency, our role does not end up with the passage of laws. It extends to observing how those laws function in practice. The House will continue to engage the NRS through oversight, ensuring that the intent of reform is preserved in implementation. We are also conscious that the effectiveness of the service will depend on its interaction with broader economic systems. The integration of technology, the expansion of the tax base, and coordination across agencies will require continued legislative attention and support. Let me conclude with a simple observation. A revenue system is ultimately a relationship between the state and its citizens. It reflects what is demanded, how it is enforced, and what is delivered in return. This headquarters, in its permanence, suggests a system that intends to endure. Endurance, however, will depend less on the structure we commission today and more on the discipline that guides its operation. On behalf of the House of Representatives, Your Excellency, I congratulate you. I congratulate the Nigerian Revenue Service. I congratulate all Nigerians, and I assure you of our continued engagement at this institution, as this institution takes on its expanded responsibilities. May God bless you, Your Excellency. May God bless the new Nigeria Revenue Service. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thank you all.